In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you indeed for tuning in to your public broadcaster, coming to you live from Nile Avenue, UBC TV, here to inspire you. Good morning, Uganda, on this 17th day of June 2025, a day which kicks off the official nominations of the NRM party for MPs, LC5 chairpersons, as well as mayors, after completing a 2-week exercise of expression of interest from different candidates that picked up forms from the NRM party headquarters. Now, amongst those who picked up and returned nomination forms, 1,579 are seeking election to parliament, and 586 as women district representatives. 533 are interested in the local council positions. It's the election season officially kicked off, and every day, as lately we say in the Gen Z language or the street language, it's creasing. The pressure is creasing day by day. But also Noop's expression of interest exercise is on, and it's going on until the 23rd of June 2025, and thereafter nomination exercises for candidates will kick off. But also FDC party launched nomination processes for its members yesterday, and this will go on until 1st July. And on the 2nd of July there, it will be the process of consensus building and vetting process, followed by party primaries in there to take place. Indeed, colleagues, the pressure is creasing, but we are here to bring you all the detail and all the information as it comes to you as we follow the general election of Uganda, the year 2026. My name is Julie Nantabamsisi, and I'm not alone. I'm with the usual suspect, Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Ntono. Good morning, Robert.
Oh, a lovely morning to you, Julie, and of course everyone that has woken up with us this lovely morning. Thank you so much. Our brothers from northern Uganda, good morning. Western Uganda, good morning, the land of milk and honey. Our brothers from the eastern region, good morning to you, and not to forget those from the central region. Do you have the southern region as well? Well, good morning, and thank you so much for starting your day with us here on UBC TV. Good morning, Uganda. Now, so many stories are happening. I want to move away a little bit from politics. Julie,
right.
Are you aware that one of the institutions that people usually keep their land titles for safety is the church? Now, there is a lady whose family had refused to bury her until the land title allegedly given to the Catholic Church for keeps for safety is given to the family, because it is the land title that contains or on which the family burial graveyard or the clan graveyard is. So it is alleged that this lady dropped the land title to the Catholic Church for safety. Now, upon her death, there has been a number of issues. Maria Teresa from Abira Wachiso, there have been a number of issues, and some are going to court because if you don't have the land title now, what happens?
Yeah.
Until yesterday, we saw the Catholic Church hand over, that is the Archbishop of Kampala, returned the land title to clear burial for the lady. The church was saying that this land was given to the church. Now, yet they say no, the lady just brought the land title for keeps. Now, just imagine the controversy there. Did she, as the church had earlier claimed that this land was given to them, or the fact is it that actually she took there the land title for keeps? It has been also a very interesting story to follow up, so much to learn, but also we must understand writing is very important.
Yeah. The good thing is she recorded it over the phone, and the recording was played to prove herself speaking that she had kept it with the church so that it would be safe there.
But also something disturbing was that there is a petrol station now who sold that person the land. The church says, well, she sold, then she came and asked us to deduct. But also one who said if she sold and made that much money, if you looked at the life she lived, where would she have put the money? So many questions. But of course, we love these developing stories. Away from that, also the plight of refugee children.
Right.
You know, you had a non-governmental organization called Wind Trust that was funding a number of schools in Jumani district and a number of districts there. And in Jumani, I think there are about 33 schools now. With Trump's actions and aid being cut off, you find that a number of these schools where this non-governmental organization was giving them food, it can no longer give the food. So the children are dropping out of school. Where it was paying the teachers, it can no longer pay the teachers it was paying. So there is a lot of challenges there regarding the refugees and the education of the children of refugees, mostly in this particular settlement. So we call upon the international community. Uganda, we are one of the biggest refugee hosting countries in Africa.
Right.
And in the world, we're not less than number 4 top refugee host countries. We need help. This is not our problem. Uganda is entirely peaceful. These refugees are coming from South Sudan, they are coming from Democratic Republic of Congo, they are coming from places we can mention. Now, help us, because we are responding to a noble cause, so that we ensure these refugees can live, survive, and enjoy life as well.
Yes, indeed. Always here to bring you all the stories as they come. And Senior Superintendent of Police Nixon Agasirwe was charged and remanded to Luzira Prison after being charged in Nakawa Chief Magistrate's Court with the 2015 killing of former prosecutor Joan Kagezi. That is another story that is one to look into, and we'll be bringing it to you as it develops. But for now, Robert, take us through what is on the local scene today. Oh,
elections have started. Now I must begin with this story. This is the national elections organized by the National Electoral Commission. Judy has just been talking about party primaries, but here we are talking about national election roadmap. Now, the Electoral Commission started conducting elections on the 2025-2026 general elections excuse me, roadmap. The first elections for order persons committees at village level, which was conducted. The spokesperson of the Electoral Commission, Julius Musinguzi, said elections for special interest groups are catered for in the 1995 Constitution, which provides for affirmative action for these categories. The persons eligible to vote in the election is the older person above 60 years and is registered in both the National Voters Register and the older persons register at village level. Muchinguzi explained that this election is the beginning and also being conducted under the multi-party dispensation. This election will be followed by persons with disabilities on the 17th of June, then that of youth on the 19th of June. These elections are at village level, parish, ward, sub-county, town and municipal divisions, municipalities and city divisions, and district level. What was going on at the ruling National Party Electoral Commission over the past few weeks was not being nomination, but it was expression of interest for various persons, including aspiring members of parliament and district local government leaders. Now the official nomination for those intending to hold the party flag commences on Tuesday, today the 17th of June. And this is what is required to be in possession of all potential candidates. Special cases like the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, have been considered for early nomination, which has seen her declared unopposed. Due to competing schedules, others have also been nominated a day earlier. Towards the closure of official black flag bearer nomination, those seeking to join the Central Executive Committee will express interest. It will be after all these party activities that the delegates will convene to select the NRM party presidential flag bearer for 2026 general elections. Forum for Democratic Change in Najana Nkumbi has reaffirmed its resilience despite the departure of some members to the People's Front Party. The party spokesperson John Chikonyogo told the media at the headquarters in Najana Nkumbi that the strength of the party lies in its majority legislators. During the national budget reading on Thursday last week at Kolo Ceremonial Grounds, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, cited that 9 of FDC's legislators were willing to join the newly formed People's Front Party. Among those to defect from the party include Chira Municipality Member of Parliament, Semujunganda, Gulu City Woman Member of Parliament, Betty Awara Chan, Buhweju County Member of Parliament, Francis Mwejuche, over reasons of internal conflict in the party and others. During the FDC's weekly press conference at their office in Najana Nkumbi, FDC spokesperson John Chikonyogo cited that there is democracy within the party. Chikonyogo said, although some are said to have left the party, the majority overweighs the minority. The party has also started conducting nominations for various positions, including parliamentary, LC5, and municipal mayors. As Boniface Tebareruka, the chairperson Electoral Commission of FDC, explained, FDC showed dissatisfaction in the recent concluded national budget, which it said does not address the pressing issues facing Ugandans. And finally, on the local scene, the National Unity Platform, NUP, has continued with nominations for candidates vying for various positions on the party ticket. Prominent figures and grassroots aspirants were at the party headquarters in Makere, Kavule. The National Unity Platform Electoral Management Committee received nomination papers from party hopefuls. Among those who present was Busiro East Member of Parliament, Medard Rwega Segona, who dismissed recent rumors that he defected to the Democratic Alliance. Segona further urged party officials to trust his leadership, citing his track record and deep connection with the people of Busiro East. Isaac Tomusange, contesting for the Mitiana North seat, shared his motivation for joining the race on the NUP card, citing a renewed commitment at grassroots leadership and party values. A parliamentary hopeful from Chadondo East, Kayanja Moses, arrived at the nomination center on a bicycle. Meanwhile, supporters and aspirants donned party colors, singing chants of unity and hope at the NUP base. Well, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning.
Very interesting. I did watch a story over the news yesterday that one of the challenges that NUP is facing is most of their candidates do not have up-to-date academic credentials that require them to contest.
I think for me, what was interesting most was Honorable Medard Rwega Segona clarifying. But I also ask myself, many times we hear people talk of His Excellency having taken some time. But I think also no one wants to leave a political office, we must say.
Right.
We're soon going to have people who will make 20 years in parliament.
It's that saying in Uganda, but let's have a look at what is on the foreign scene. And blasts rock Tehran and air raid sirens go off in Tel Aviv as Iran says it's preparing for what it calls the largest and most intense missile attack in history on Israeli soil after a strike on Iranian state television. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that killing Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would not escalate hostilities but would end the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump issues a threat on social media, ordering all residents of Tehran to flee, saying that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The death toll from Israel's attack on Iran has risen to more than 220, including 70 women and children. More than 20 people have been killed in Iranian attacks on Israel. Meanwhile, Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 55,432 people and wounded 128,923, according to Gaza's health ministry. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7th attacks, and more than 200 were taken captive. May God have some form of intervention.
People who are dying, not animals,
the
not
people
donkeys,
who are dying, exactly.
no camels.
Right, it's human lives. But anyways, moving on, social media and video networks have become the main source of news in the U.S., overtaking traditional TV channels and news websites. Research suggests more than a half, that is 54% of people get news from networks like Facebook, X, and YouTube, overtaking TV. That is about 50%, and news sites and apps, which come to 48%, according to the Reuters Institute. The rise of social media and personality-based news is not unique to the United States, but changes seem to be happening faster and with more impact than in other countries, a report found. Podcaster Joe Rogan was the most widely seen personality, with almost a quarter, that is 22%, of the population saying they had come across news or commentary from him in the previous week. The report's author Nick Newman said the rise of social video and personality-driven news represents another significant challenge for traditional publishers. The Institute also highlighted a trend for some politicians to give their time to sympathetic online hosts rather than mainstream interviewers. It said populist politicians around the world are increasingly able to bypass traditional journalism in favor of friendly partisan media personalities and influencers who often get special access but rarely ask difficult questions, with many implicated in spreading false narratives or worse. I think this is quite dangerous.
Some would want their page to grow and grow. So
yeah, but on a false narrative. But anyways, let's come back to the motherland, and in particular, look at East Africa, our neighbor here in Kenya. Kenya's Deputy Police Chief Eliud Lagat has stepped aside pending the outcome of investigations into the death in detention of blogger Albert Ojwang. Mr. Lagat had been under pressure to resign from the position, and human rights activists, as Mr. Ojwang was arrested after he filed a complaint accusing the blogger of defaming him on social media. Now, police initially said that Mr. Ojwang died of self-inflicted wounds, but were forced to retract the statement after an autopsy found that he was likely to have died from assault wounds. Mr. Lagat denied any wrongdoing, but said in a statement that he was stepping aside in the good and cautious thought of his responsibilities as Deputy Police Chief. Quote, in quote, "I undertake to provide any support that may be required of me during the investigations of the unfortunate incident," Mr. Lagat said. "I offer immense condolences to the family of Mr. Albert Ojwang for their great loss," he added. Until the investigation is concluded, Mr. Lagat will have no access to his office, and his duties will be performed by his deputy. This comes amid intensifying pressure, with more demonstrations planned this week by activists demanding a transparent investigation into the 31-year-old blogger's death. A story that keeps developing.
The dead are not dead.
Surely, indeed, the dead are not dead. What's in the press today?
Well, with the new vision, we have NRM there, 553 vie for district posts. That is in the new vision. We also have law to try civilians in army court signed. And still NRM red flag, sorry, still in the new vision, red flag as 10,000 apply for second national IDs. And still in the new vision, what NRM has achieved in 4 years, you must get to know that. And also Agasire charged over Kagezi murder. Now, PDM, how 1 million changed Butambala women's life. Well, that is PDM money. Now, let me quickly go to the Daily Monitor. Facing his past, from glory to dust. Now, here we see a man, the making of police's most feared man. Now, the court session that gave away Agasire. The Daily Monitor gives you more of that. Court-martial back like it never left. And also, we have NRM racks in billions from political aspirants. As you pick forms, you're paying. NRM is making money there.
Oh, they say they're using it to run the process.
And then there are also tenders, deals at the Ministry of Works and Transport, Bank of Uganda, UEDCL, GIZ, UNICEF, UCC, Biola College of Medicine, Children's Foundation Uganda, Equity Bank, etc. So check through and see. You can win a tender there. Now, this thing called the lizard. Court-martial back like it never left. Now, those that passed it might benefit first.
Very
What a what?
interesting. I know. Thank you, Robert, for that update in the dailies. Now, let's take a short break with some music. Now, this was a song that was a theme song for the TV series Sanyu, but it's one you can also enjoy.
But we've not looked at the citizens this morning.
The Citizen, does it have...
Yes, it has something for us.
All
Here,
right.
we have Samia's plan for L-Zone economic transformation. And we also have about gold companies move to boost forex reserves. And still in the Citizens, MPs, manufacturers applaud budget, offer proposals. But we also have why online ticket service providers now face a latter ban. And still they give you more of Tanzanians' budget there. We have Her Excellency Samia Suluhu there on the front page with the minister there, looking at what the budget contains and what you need to know more. But remember, you can get more of the details when you get yourself a copy of these dailies.
Very true indeed. For now, enjoy some music from Kenneth Mugabe with the song Sanyu.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters.
We are looking at something that is affecting millions of people and is on such a rise in young children, and that is eye myopia. Understanding it, how to manage it, or even how to prevent it in case it should not happen, and we have the powers to prevent it. Now in studio with me to talk about that is Jacqueline Babonerao, and she is an ophthalmic clinic officer at La Paix Glasses. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Good morning, Julie.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for hosting me.
I love your glasses. Your frames are beautiful. They have a
thank
beautiful
you.
color.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning to the viewer of UBC. This is Jacqueline Babonerao. I'm an eye specialist working with La Paix Opticians Uganda. It's a pleasure to speak to the viewer today.
Right. Now, many understand this word myopia as an insult, and many use it as an insult. But please help us understand and make sense of what the word myopia means when it comes to eyes.
Well, myopia, I would use an English term,
Right.
like short-sightedness or nearsightedness. This is a condition where a person is only able to see things that are up close to them. Like distant things appear a bit blurry or even really blurry, so they cannot see things at a distance pretty well. Myopia, it is something of concern in our society, especially today. And yeah, we expect this to even get worse even as years go on, in case we do not really intervene. That's why we are here, Julie.
Right. Let's start from why you expect it to actually worsen. That's quite scary.
Well, it is estimated by WHO that by the year 2050, almost half of the population will be myopic or will be short-sighted, simply because of, say, the lifestyle we've introduced our children to, and even those we are soon producing. There is some lifestyle we are considering fancy, yet it is actually predisposing these children to this myopia. Even us who are using screens, now that the generation or the world is digitalized, we are doing mainly screen activities, and this is keeping us at near activities all the time. That is why we are expecting that the eyes are eventually going to get locked up in near vision, and eventually we shall have half the population myopic if we really don't intervene. Yeah.
When you say myopic in particular, does it only, all these causes you've mentioned, like lifestyles, screen activity, are they only related with myopia, or they also affect long-sightedness?
Well, first of all, when I say half of the population will be myopic, now myopia is not the only refractive error that we have.
Right.
We have long-sightedness or hypermetropia, we have astigmatism, we have presbyopia. But if we say half of the population will be myopic, now you realize that it's taking almost the biggest percentage from the rest of the others, because if there are 4 and then myopia is taking half, it means there is a lot that is causing this myopia than every other thing. Now, why I say these activities I've talked about are predisposing us to myopia. Now, let me give an example of a young child or a baby Our eyes are still developing, actively developing up to about the age of 18, though it will continue developing up to, you know, I think one lives their teenage ages. But if the eye is actively developing and then we are introducing these children to near activities, like, you know, I think in every home a child has a tab. For them to watch Cocomelon, we do not have time for them. So it is majorly phones that are occupying these children. And there's no way this child is going to view this phone from a distance, definitely near.
Yes.
Now, just though you could see a plant growing up when it's bent, that's how it will grow. In the same way, this eye will grow up only in near, you know, it will be only used to seeing near, you know.
Light, yes.
Yes. So it so happens that these eyes are going to get used to only seeing near, like they're not practicing seeing far. And eventually this child will develop into short-sightedness, you see. Yes, that's why we are saying the population is likely going to be short-sighted if we do not intervene as early as possible.
Interesting. As Ugandans, we do have, sometimes we have mentalities where we look at these children with eyeglasses and think that it's cool for our children to have eyeglasses, or yet in actual sense we are deteriorating their body functioning that should be used for better and making them better citizens for their nation in the future. When you say causes of myopia are lifestyle related, is there a chance that they could also be genetic?
Well, myopia can follow family history. You can find if my grandfather had it, I can get it. Now, yes, it can follow family history, but even the lifestyle may even bring it earlier than we expected. There are those, yes, it is in your family, you do not have it yet, but because of the lifestyle that we are living, it is going to even make it, yeah, it will come even faster than we expected. You never know, even one could not really get it, despite the fact that it's there in their family, but because of what we are doing on a daily basis, it is likely it may come. Okay, so I would really implore our people, especially our parents at home, let us not reach there. Let us engage our children, because if we are to say 2050, the children we are producing now are the future in 2050. So if we can engage them more in outdoor activities other than keeping them on the phones and tabs full time, this will do us better to have this counteracted by the year 2050.
Right. What are those early signs of myopia that one can start looking out for before it gets too late?
Well, the very first thing is difficulty seeing things which are distant. If you find your child only sees things that are near, like they give them homework and they just have to put it like close here for them to see, that is already a red flag. There are those that will get headaches, like they will tell you, I cannot see. I get headache when I'm trying to see. That is already a sign. The child may tell you, Mommy, things are blurry. There may not be specific things that are close or far, but they will tell you, I see blurry things, I see like there is smoke. A person may tell you, you can even just see, squinting, like they cannot open their eyes at full potential. They'll always squint for them to, like, reducing them in size. Yeah. They'll always reduce them in size for them to focus a little. Then also in class or at school, you will find that these particular children are not performing well because, yeah, the teachers don't know. And you know, these days, even now sitting positions in class, I don't know. A teacher will put you anywhere. If you reach late, you will sit behind. No, they may not favor this particular child who is short-sighted. So you find that the grades are consistently deteriorating. So there are quite a number of things. There are quite a number of things that a person can tell that this child is actually myopic. Headaches, blurry vision, difficult seeing. Such children concentrate for less hours, like they can't concentrate for long before they start getting these symptoms, and definitely can't continue concentrating. So yeah, there are quite a number of them.
Some of them that you've mentioned actually remind me of a colleague I studied with in primary school, and many times in class she would do that while trying to get the notes off of the blackboard.
And others even copy from the neighbors' books because they can't read from the board.
And what happens when it's even worse? Because for that particular symptom you've mentioned, I noticed my colleague reached a point where now her specs were just for use, and then she would put them down and then use them to look at the board and then put them down to write, and then Is that a worse situation?
Were they really spectacles or handheld magnifiers?
They were. They were.
They were
Yes,
spectacles.
yes,
Wow.
yes. They were.
Good. Yeah, I think there are just some people who are not comfortable with wearing them. But for a short-sighted person, if they are just short-sighted, we expect them, these spectacles, to see both far and near as well. Perhaps she was just not comfortable enough with them. And also, if those powers are so strong, it's not easy to get used to them, to adapt to them. It may take some pretty time. But yes, these glasses, we expect them to help someone to see at the board and also write down notes or read.
Do they correct their vision?
Well, correcting you means someone getting off them sometime.
After some time, yes.
Yes, we really expect greater improvement before one leaves their teenage ages. Yeah, but it's not limited to that. There are those who have the chances of improving. However, there are some of us who didn't have the chance. So, but chances are high if we treated early, at least out of experience for the children I've seen. Chances are high for a person who has started wearing their glasses earlier. Before they leave their teenage ages, chances of them improving are high. That is if the glasses are worn right. We have parents or teachers at schools there that refuse these children from wearing their glasses.
Oh.
They will only tell you wear them only while in class. Outside, please remove them. And this is doing them a disservice, because for such a child, unless if your doctor, eye specialist, has told you to do that, of course there are reasons, but unless otherwise, they're supposed to be worn full time for you to have higher chances of improving.
Very interesting. We are understanding and managing the issue of eye myopia, and in studio with us is Jacqueline Bavonerao. She is an ophthalmic clinic officer at La Paire Glasses. Jacqueline, I wonder, are certain populations or maybe age groups at risk more than others?
I would say still, right now, I would really attribute it to children and now screen users, because these are the categories that are spending a lot of time on near activities. For us as teenagers or as the children, we are doing more of the phone and tabs. Now, the adults, youths, we are doing more of computer, you find that out of the 24 hours of the day, a person has 10 hours on screens, because that is the kind of work they do. And definitely, normally you find that when a person is on this screen, they will always forget to even look far. So I find that the eye is usually getting locked up in near vision. Now, for the elderly people, those ones, it is not easy to find them myopic unless if one came from, from their childhood when they are myopic. Those ones often develop something we call presbyopia. And that one, we expect it for anyone above 40 years. It can set it in time, but myopia itself, it is mainly children and youths, because of the lifestyle we are living.
Oh, wow. Lifestyle is really, really key in this. It's even alarming and quite scary that perhaps we need to pay heed as to what lifestyles we are living. Let's look at risks of, if untreated, if myopia is untreated, what are the risks that could be beforehand?
Well, the very, very first, and if we were to look at a child or a student, we just expect poor grades at school. High myopic people, just like I said, high myopia, if left untreated, can cause something we call retinal detachment. It's not very common, but if it happens, my dear, you will regret not even spending that small money on spectacles. So we can look at retinal detachment. We can look
what
at...
does retinal detachment look like? The retina detaches from the eye?
From, the eye is like a port.
Yes.
Behind there is where we find the retina.
Yes.
And it is attached on like the wall itself. So if it detaches, we even expect the vision to really go. And we do not have many of retinal surgeons around that can help us. So before we can get there, please let us have these conditions, this particular condition corrected before it gets worse. Then poor grades at school, this child will concentrate less, even straining itself. for us employees, there's going to be inefficiency at work. For employers, you find that there is less output at work. So there are quite a number of them. Just imagine I'm working with a headache because I can't see.
Right.
And now, I would give an example of an accountant. You miss 1 0 on money, that is a lot. Or you add a 0 on amount, that is a lot. So simply because one is not seeing, like I've seen 6 zeros, yet they are actually 4 or 5.
Right.
That is already a loss to the company. So it affects us both at work, it will affect the student at school, it will affect even you, the employer. So we really need to have this corrected before we get there.
Do you think the public is generally aware of myopia and its effects?
Well, I wouldn't say so, but we are trying to do this as LAPER.
Right.
Now, if a person doesn't do that, that's why we are here, so that the public can get to know. We are moving away from that myth where people used to think seeing an eye specialist is for only the rich people. You need to pay a lot of money for consultation to see an eye specialist. We are moving away from that kind of mindset. That's why we are bringing services a little closer to people, and awareness. Awareness is really key, because you may never know in eye care. You may never know you really have an issue if you've not been told. You may never know.
For real?
Yes, and yet some of these very dangerous conditions do not come with pain. And unfortunately, in Africa here, if something is not presenting with pain, we don't really give it much attention. Yet for us now in eye care, it's something that we are now looking at like really importantly, because by the time you realize you do not see some of the things, we cannot even reverse them. You see? So myopia itself, in the communities, we have people, we still have people, but I know we shall get there. We still have people who think glasses are for high-class people. We still have people who think glasses are not okay to be worn at an early age. We still have people who think glasses actually spoil the eyes the more. And that is why they are still keeping back in societies and not even visiting an eye specialist for the pair of glasses correct this myopia. But Master Shua, usually we shall get there where people are now informed, and yes, they know what to do. They know that if I give my child glasses at 5 years, they have chances of getting over them as they grow. If I give my girl glasses at 18 years, it will help her or him perform better at school. Like, we shall get there. Me, I know we shall get there. With the kind of awareness we are doing as LAPER, I know, yes, we shall get there. Indeed,
indeed, you shall get there. And thank you so much for coming to UBC to teach us a thing or two about myopia. I really look forward to having you back, because this is a conversation that is very pertinent, but one that is also detailed. As we bring this to a close, advice for managing screen time, especially in today's tech era.
Well, screens emit what we call blue light, and blue light really has an effect on our vision. And yes, the technology, we cannot do away with this technology. We, at this point, we cannot. We just cannot.
Right.
But yes, how do we live with it? For us who are sitting on screens each and every single new day, there is something we call 20-20-20 rule. It says that for every 20 minutes you're spending on this screen, at least take off 20 seconds and try to look at something 20 feet away. Now, this helps your eyes to relax. It helps your eyes to focus at least something far, to get used to seeing something far, and also for them to get rehydrated again. Because normally these blue lights tend to dry up the eye, and a person will eventually get these strains, gritty sensations. So if we can practice that for every 20 minutes, 15 to 20, it will do us good. Then also, unless otherwise, can we just try to limit screen time? If we have spent our entire day at on a screen, at least when we get back home, let us not sleep like with screens. You know, some of us have that habit.
Yes. So, before you sleep, you have to first check your phone.
Can we take at least 40 minutes off these screens before we get to rest? This loss, it's a good habit. It's a health habit for eye care, you know. 40 minutes before bedtime, at least get off screens and just have the eyes relaxed before you can sleep. Yes.
Very interesting.
So yeah, that would help us. It could be a good
Are there aspects that one can wear if they access a lot of screen? They're not, their eyes are still okay, But there are those specs that help them.
Those specs actually also apply to a person who has sick eyes, just like the way mine are here.
Right.
Yeah, they are called blue light blocking spectacles, which we do have at La Paix. Just come through and we test you, because for us, even if you feel your vision is okay, we do not give you glasses before we test. At least we test for us to be sure that indeed your vision is okay. That's when we give you those glasses. They're called photochromic blue light blocking spectacles. They do not only help with screens, but they also help with the sun as well and other artificial lights.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Jacqueline is an ophthalmic clinic officer at La Paix Glasses, and she's been teaching us about, she's been helping us understand and manage eye myopia. A lot I've learned. I hope you too are. I'll just share what she has said as a parting shot, that for every 20 minutes you spend on a screen, at least take off 20 seconds to look at something far away from your eyesight, to help your eyes hydrate and to help your eyes catch things that are far from them. That being said, thank you so much for watching UBC TV. Do you have a parting shot that is akatalekeka?
Sure, thank you so much, Julie. So La Paix, just like we said, La Paix is a big brand, and we are located all over Uganda and in West Africa and in East Africa. So in Uganda here, we have quite a number of branches. Please feel free to step into any La Paix branch. Gaza Road, Kampala Road, Chisementi, Ntinda, Nansana, Natete, almost everywhere. As long as you turn like this, you see La Paix branch. However, you can also find us on all our social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of them. We are present, La Paix, Uganda. And then also you can reach us on a phone number, which I'll read for you, the viewer today, 0709 744 775. I think I'll take it again, 0709 744 775. Yes, you can reach us on that number. You can book your appointment today for that eye checkup. Remember, you always must have an eye checkup at least once a year for you to have healthy eyes. Thank you so much. It's been Jacqueline Baunera, eye specialist, La Paix Glasses, Uganda.
Right, have your eyes checked at least once a year. So go for that eye checkup at La Paix, Uganda. Good morning. Up next is GMU Tourism Express.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that.
Okay.
The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
We are still at Immaculate Heart Girls School, Nyachibale, and we are within the school museum. In this segment, we are going to be talking about what more you have to find in the school museum. Welcome on the Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express, and my name is Zakia Lucky. I have seen quite familiar items like we did see at Brims. Back then, I'm getting to find a gramophone here, which is quite different from what I saw there. Typewriters, the monitor, but we are yet to understand how these are getting to exist in here. And I think it's a very good thing for a school to store this because students are getting a chance to learn about these, unlike us who got to know about this probably in the field, and there is someone else like you who has not even had a chance to see these or even get to know how they operate. It's not just about those artifacts, but we have also other items that do represent cultures and also some of the artworks that these students get to see. So stick around as we get to interview one of the students that is going to tell us about these items.
My name is Agaba Esther, the President UNESCO Club Immaculate Heart, and I will be taking you through this cultural segment of our museum. So here we have very many artifacts. This is called, okay, in English it's the mortar and the pestle, but then in our language it's called the shekuro. This is where we form some of the flour that we use for cooking. Then here we have the containers. They can be used for soup, for example, stew, and they can also be used to hold cow ghee or what we call a shabwe. Then here we have the traditional baskets. Okay, they are for holding meals, let's say the traditional cattle. They are called endiro. Then here, this part, we're trying to depict the segment of hunting. So here we have one of the horns that were gotten from the hunted animals. And here we have the ankle bells. These ones, they are either tied on the dogs while hunting so that they can be able to find the animals that are in hiding. And then they're also tied on the cows, but you cannot tie them on the cows unless they are over 100 in number. So you tie them on the cows for easy identification. Then these are the remains of a buffalo that was hunted. So in this part, we're trying to talk about how hunting was done in the old days. And so these are the materials that were used. Then when we come to this sector, we're trying to depict the Chichiga culture. So here we have one of these calabashes, and they're used for holding the traditional drinks, for example, omuramba, entudire, and ushera. Then we also have entara. This is for winnowing, let's say sorghum or millet. Then here we have the straw hats. In the Hima and Ankole culture, whenever they used to go to graze, there would be a lot of sunshine. Okay, so they made these hats out of straw from the swamp, and then they would put them on their heads just like this, so that the direct sunlight, the direct heat does not affect them. So these are the straw hats. Then this place, we're trying to depict the technology of Immaculate Heart. So this is a gramophone, and it is a musical artifact. But one of the main reasons as to why we brought it into this school, into this museum, sorry, is because it was given to us by the late Mr. Ntakarima Michael, who started up the founder of this museum. So it was put here as a monument because of him. Then as the school started in 1969, the technology that we used to use for, let's say, reports or examinations, we had these typewriters. So as per now, they are not in use because there has been a new technology evolving, and right now we are using these keyboards and even the laptops. So on this part, we are trying to depict the evolution, right, of technology in Immaculate Heart. Then also as the school started, we had these kinds of radios. As per now, I don't think they are really very common, because now we can even use the ones that are on phone or on laptops or whatsoever, even the internet. And here we use these monitors, but as per now we have evolved, but we want to keep them here in the museum so that we can keep closer to our roots and remind ourselves where we came from. Then here we have a display of the telephone evolution in Immaculate Heart. So we started from this sector going forth, and as per now we use the payphones and the smartphones. So we wanted to keep them here, okay, to carry on the culture, so that even as the next generation comes, they will be able to continue using them.
These were used in school?
Yes, yeah, right. So these plates, they were used a very long time ago. So in the previous year, okay, in the old years before colonialism, even these plates were not there. They came from the white world, okay? So before, they used to use banana fibers to hold their food instead of these plates, but when the whites came, they brought these plates. So right here we have these are the metallic ones. First we were using banana fibers, then we went to the metallic ones, then after that we evolved now to the ceramics. So here, down this side, we have the projects of the new curriculum students in Immaculate Heart, and here they are using bottle tops to show environmental conservation. So even here they use the bottle tops. So we are trying to show that we do not need to dispose these things badly, okay? We can use them for something very profitable. Even these are also projects, the bottles. So basically that's what we're trying to talk about. Then this side at the back, here is the sector for music, dance and drama. So Immaculate Heart being a multicultural society, all these instruments are not only for one culture. For example, this adungu and this one, they're from the eastern side of Uganda, and they are used for music. So Immaculate Heart, having all these cultures, okay, we are trying to show that we embrace all of them. So we use them in music, dance and drama. We use them on Culture Day. We use them on every other occasion that we get a chance to use them. So here we have the akogos, or what we could call the thumb pianos, and they're also part of the music instruments that evolved from the East. Then here we have the ingalabi. It's a long drum from Buganda. And then we have the shakers, we have the panpipes, and we have the tube fiddles. So this part of music, dance and drama, we're trying to show that as Immaculate Heart, we embrace all these cultures. So here we have an ancestral stool. So on this stool, this is, okay, around here, there is always a hide that it is circular, okay? So that circular motion signifies that the reign of this person who is being given headship in the family, it has to continue, okay? So this traditional four-legged stool, number one, it is only used by the heir, and the heir is given authority, headship, especially when the head of the family has died. So to show that the reign will continue, they choose an heir from the sons and the daughters. So this hide that we see around here, as you can see, it is circular in shape. So this circular motion signifies the fact that they want the rain to continue. They want it to continue flowing, so that even when this person passes away, the next person will carry on the mantle and the rain will continue forever. Then this shield, when the heir is given this shield, he's supposed to use it for protection. It is a symbol of protection and authority, so that if anything whatsoever happens to the family, he'll be able to protect. Then the spear, it is first of all a symbol of bravery. So when you hold it like this, it's supposed to be held from the middle, and when this part is facing the people, that means it is signifying peace. But if you put the sharp side this side instead, that means we are trying to show that we are trying to fight the enemy. But in this case, we are just bringing the heir, okay? So when you hold this spear, it shows that you are brave and that you have been chosen as the heir. So these are symbols of power that are given to the heir. Also, there is this one, and most times, in most occasions, it was used during grazing, so that when they are taking the cows back home. So it is also, in some cases, believed to be a protection symbol from any other superstitious practices. So it is also given to the heir, and words of majesty, proclamations are said upon this heir before he is given the role.
Okay, Esther actually makes a very good tour guide, and she's also the president of UNESCO, but then I'm wondering what UNESCO is and how she got to learn all of these things that she's been taking us through. Maybe you could tell us.
Thank you so much. UNESCO in full is United Nations Education, Scientific and Culture Organization, and I've been in this club since my senior 1. So in senior 5, I was elected the president, and UNESCO, one of the parts being in charge of culture in Immaculate Heart, we are in charge of the Culture Day that always takes place on Women's Day. Then we are also in charge of the museum. Okay, even the founder of this museum, the late Mr. Ntakarima Michael, and teacher Salome, they are the ones who made this museum. So the way I got to learn about all this stuff, obviously in this generation we do not have much of this information, but when I came to Immaculate Heart, I was very exposed to all this stuff. You know, there is MDD, there is Culture Day, there is sports and games, and so I got to learn each and everything that you see here, and I got to also find a way to make them useful. So UNESCO is in charge of the museum, and we would like to pass on a message to the youth out there, and they should try to keep closer to their roots. You know, they should not let this culture fade away. So basically that's what UNESCO does, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Amazing. You should stay closer to your roots, and well done, the late Takarimazi, who was actually our entertainment minister, and Madame Salome back then, because it is you that have made this generation get a chance, especially in the Immaculate Heart community, to learn about these things. There are so many out there that have missed out on this one, that we have schools that probably don't have this, and that is how you're losing out on your roots. So we are still coming in again for another segment. Stick around as we continue to explore the artifacts and the culture in Immaculate Heart Girls' School.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Welcome back from Immaculate Heart Nyachibari. I must say Esther is very well articulated, and not just Esther. For the couple of episodes I've watched of Immaculate Heart edition, the girls are really, really very well articulated, and that's a thumbs up for the school. And I must also say that I'm proud to, I might not have attended the school, but at least my mother did. So in a way, I feel proud about that. But I also appreciate Immaculate Heart for that museum initiative. It's a beautiful one that reminds us of who we are despite the era of colonialism, despite the era of the global network that we are all exposed to. Coming back home, east or west, home is always best. Time for business. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, and we are starting with matters from the Private Sector Foundation, which held a high post-budget dialogue in Kampala, bringing together key stakeholders to analyze and discuss the implications of the 2025-2026 budget. Now, the permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Gobi, who graced over the event, highlighted government's priorities and underscored the importance of a vibrant private sector in Uganda's social and economic growth aspirations. At the heart of Uganda's economic planning is collaboration with the private sector, and that was the central message at the post-budget dialogue organized by the Private Sector Foundation, Uganda. Now, the meeting provided a platform for in-depth discussions on the recently released 2025-26 national budget and its potential impact on business, investment, and sustainable growth. The permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Gobi, underscored the government's commitment to private sector-led growth, emphasizing that the new budget aligns closely with the goals of NDP4, especially in areas such as industrialization, infrastructure, and human capital development. Among the key issues raised were the need for enhanced support to local enterprises, deliberate investment in tourism, promotion, and improved access to affordable financing for small and medium-sized businesses. Stakeholders also welcomed the government's renewed focus on economic diversification and digital transformation as outlined in the new development framework. Now, let's move on to matters privatization still with the State Minister for Privatization and Investment, that is Honorable Evelyn Anite, who highlighted government's efforts to create a favorable investment climate. This was during the Indian Business Forum in Uganda, organized to discuss the implications of Uganda's budget for the financial year 2024-25. The forum explored opportunities for collaboration in agriculture, energy, manufacturing, and mining. The meeting emphasized the potential for Indian businesses to invest in Uganda, leveraging the country's natural resources and strategic locations. Now, looking at science, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, has encouraged the government to embrace science and technology, describing it as valuable and full of potential. Dr. Musenero made the appeal while launching the National Science Week at Kololo Independence Grounds, and the National Science Week underscores how innovation can drive job creation, industrial growth, and national self-reliance. The 5-day event on the theme Made in Uganda, Innovation to Market, embracing Uganda-made products, is to bridge the gap between the research lab and the marketplace and help to further advance Uganda's bold journey of turning innovation into market-ready solutions. Innovators have turned up in large numbers, showcasing a wide variety of innovative products, each designed to create employment opportunities and solve societal problems. In the 2025-26 financial year, Government of Uganda allocated 60.26 billion to the Science, Technology and Innovation STI, that is STI sector. Finally, staying still with matters budget, but this time not in Uganda, but rather Buganda. The Buganda Kingdom has passed a 305 billion shillings budget for the financial year 2025-26 with a focus on empowering the youth through health, education, technology. The Kingdom's Treasurer, also Minister for Finance, Robert Wagwa Nsibidwa, read for Buganda Luchiko that they collected more funds than they had anticipated in the previous financial year. Buganda Kingdom Luchiko members converged to Luchiko chambers to attend the second sitting of the 32nd Luchiko for the reading of the 2025-26 budget. The Speaker of Luchiko, Patrick Luwaga Mugumbule, presided over the sitting. The Buganda's treasurer, also Minister for Finance, Robert Wagwan Sibirwa, presented the budget of over 305 billion before Luchiko, stating the major sector to prioritize, including renovating Kabaka's Lake. The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, told the Luchiko this year's budget is not enough compared to the kingdom's needs. Meanwhile, Katikiro assured the public about Kabaka's health, who is abroad for medical checkups. The 305 billion Buganda past budget, 25% is allocated on agriculture, trade and partnerships, and then 24% on investment and 22% on administration, among other sectors. Now let's have a look at what the forex rates look like as of the 16th day of June 2025. And the US dollar opened at 3,599.82 and sold at 3,602.82. And by midday, it was at 3,598.73, dropped a little bit of value there, and sold at 3,608.73, closed in at 3,595.73, and sold at 3,605.73. The British pound was buying at 4,880.84 and was selling at 4,894.41. The euro was buying at 4,157.02 and selling at 4,168.52. The Kenyan shilling still at 27.83 and selling at 27.90. The Tanzanian shilling is at 1.38, has increased value there. 1.38 and still at 1.38 really. And the South African rand starting to pick up again at 200.67, buying and selling at 201.23. And that's it for today's business on GMU. But up next is the agenda, so stick around for the conversation that we are having. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, still with you on Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Juko. Yo. What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real.
I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving. Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson
chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Ghetto structure okusooka ffe twali twepima nga ghetto structure tenabeerawo bali batugoba nga bintu si byakubeera nga tusobola okumiitinga mu mwali temusobola na kutumiitinga batulaga bagenda tulondesa obukulembeze ne batulaga nti tulina okweteekateeka ne batulaga nti mu bayamba mulina okubeera ne sako era essaawa zino eno n'akasente tukayina mwe kali mu ofiisi tukakozesa babeneficiaries abantu ab'omu ghetto wansi tuyanziza nnyo His Excellency the President of Uganda Brigadier General Damulira Major Emma Kuteesa House Controller anti-ghetto tumuyita anti-ghetto structure kati mulimu nze nagufuula mulimu office eno ghetto structure mulimu kati gwenkola sikyalina kyenkola kyonna bannaye ba ghetto youth mwenna bakubiriza ghetto structure yazze n'emikono ebiri ebeere ng'etuyambako oba ng'etujjayo yonna gye tuli ng'etusapootinga mu buli kimu veeyo akasente mwe kali mu ofiisi ak'okwekulaakulanya mutuukire ofiisi ensonga zammwe zonna zigenda kukolebwako.
I'd love to take this opportunity to thank our President, Yoweri Kaguta Turihabura Museveni, by coming up with a Myoga program. We started in 2021 as Kasumi Parish Carpenters and Myoga Circle. When we received this amount of 30 million, we had a problem, we had a challenge of machines. We used to carry our wood and we would carry it up to Waise to be worked on. So when we got this chance, we are able to buy machines to ease our work of carpentry. At the moment, we are a number composed of 140 members. We have the women who come in and do saloon chairs. We have the men doing 3-drawer tables, 2-drawer tables, and different kind of furniture. Before the Myoga program came in, we had a lot of crimes taking place on this road. When this Myoga program came up, we managed to collect these youths. We gave them hope that you can change from stealing, and we can give you skill so that you'll be someone in the society that will even help another person.
Kansoke ddala okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'emirimu emirungi gy'atutaddemu nga ffe abavubuka. Nze nno nze omu ku abo abaabeeranga ku kkubo okwo emisana n'ekiro ng'oluusi olw'okuba naffe tunoonya ekyokulya nga gwa kiyina oba mmwe twakiyitanga b'amalala bagenda beerabisa nga tubagwamu munnange era nga tuba tulina obbikuggyako naffe ne tubaawo. Naye munnange neebaza kyamaani wange wa wano yankwatako nno wamu ne bannange twatandika okukozesa mashini zino tandika okuwawula okulanda okukola dizayini emmeeza zino tuzifulumya entebe bwe ziti tulina emirimu gye tutandikirako emyangu okugeza ng'okufulumya obumotoka buno. Kano akamotoka n'omwana omuto w'emyaka 5 akafulumya. Bw'ova mu kufulumya akamotoka kano owawula okukwata oluwawu n'owawula emmeeza ng'eno n'ebeera smooth. Oluvaawo nga bakutwala ku mashini eno oluvaawo lukolebwa oti bwe ntyo ndi wa mukisa byonna saabisasulira. Najja wano ne baŋŋamba Pulezidenti Museveni bino ebyuma yabituwa. Byammwe mulina okuba nga mubikozesa. Omukisa ne ngutwala. Era neebaza kuba kati ne bwe mba nvudde wano ne ŋŋenda ewalala. Ne bwe ŋŋenda Sudaani nsobola okusigala nga ndi mulimu gwe gumu ogw'obubazzi ne gumbeezaawo wamu ne famire yange. Ku sevingi wange ebimu ku byentereka bwe bampa akasente kange nfulumya emmeeza ng'eno bino kiri wano si kya kiyamaani waffe nedda wano tulinawo itemu zaffe kati ku ssaawa eno zonjogera wano ninawo emmeeza ezange 5 n'entebe 12 ezitambulira ku mmeeza ezo nga zange era nga zo ne baba bazituuze wali sente baziwanze oluusi emirimu n'emirala ne gijja ne bagala twafunye omulimu guti mujje mufulumye entebe wano zino bwe zitimu gakukola sente bwe kityo emyoga gino okuba nagyegattako bingi byenfunye. Edda nze nalinga sisobola kusasula nnyumba gye mbeeramu era nja kunoonya gye ŋŋenda okusula mu mifulejje era eyo mifulejje gye ŋŋenda okusanga ote oli ajja atamidde nga ye ate alina n'essimu gy'amulisa. Kale ebintu ng'ebyo nze kati nina wensula era ssaawa weziwera nti zino ssaawa zakwebaka olwo nga nsimbula nga ŋŋenda neebaka nawasa tadde n'abaana nno munnange sebo kulembeze weebale bageto yuti mwenna gye muli wabweru eyo temutya temwerumaluma nkata temudda mu biki temulobera mu projekiti za gavumenti kuba zino projekiti ziriwo kutuyamba ffe zaffe zirina kutuyimusa kututeeka ku ddaala ddala bwe lwonazoberamu abalala bazeegaseemu ffe nga tukola ki bwebiba bwe bityo.
Because of this Myoga program, we have been able to pick such different youth, mentor them, we train them. After learning, they also go up even start their businesses. We have people buying from us, schools, we have factories, companies. They come and give us very juicy contracts. And out of that, that's how we've managed to accumulate this amount of saving of 70 million. So I would love to thank the President of Uganda that because of the Emyoga program, we've done what they call mindset change. Those who used to think of going for prostitution, we've captured them and changed their mind. They are here trying to do work, trying to get skills. Those used to steal, they are also here trying to get skills. We have been job seekers, but now we are no longer job seekers. We are job creators.
The circle started 5 years back with 15 members who were part of the executive, and we managed to use the same 15 members to mobilize the youth and come in to make the 16 associations. So each member took a thought of gathering, mobilizing the 15 people to make associations. So the circle was established. We happened to have 229 members that qualified for 30 millions, which we got in 2021. We used the 30 millions from the presidential initiative to buy the 6 motorcycles, which was a small number to benefit the 229 members, but we managed to use it. The 6 border helped us to go under saving culture. We managed to group our members into 15-15 for saving culture. So the saving culture is 15 groups. They could get 12,000 per day, which 12,000 at the end of the month manages to buy 1 motorcycle. That 1 motorcycle is shared among the 15, so they vote who to take it. The 15 kept on until the 15 months. Every member had to get 1 motorcycle with saving culture. As I say, we managed to get 84 motorcycles from today's report. On daily, a rider, you move Kawempe, Nakawaru, Makinde, you Kampala Metropolitan, and at the end of the day, you have 50,000. That one, we call it average day. There is a time you make 100, that is, we call it the golden day. So most of our members came without anything to use or to support their family. So we helped them by giving them the border as one of the job opportunity the circle is offering to the community.
Kunso kwebaza President Museveni olw'enkola eno gyatutereddewo otukulaakulanya nga najja wano mu ssaka eno nga sirina piki era ndi omu ku bammemba abaasooka okufuna no piki. Kati abavubuka abali bateesobola kugula piki wano kibakyama. Ogula buguzi migabo $5,000 ng'ofuna piki ng'otandika obulamu. Ate ku layisi tuli bangi. Kuba omuntu tolina miliyoni 5 zigula mpya 5 kitundu. Oba oguze emigabo ate nga gijjo n'otandikira okwo. Tolaba nti oba ofunyemu. Abantu abali batalina mirimu baagifuna. Wabwe guno mulimu nno gwennyini tugufunyemu singa simaanyi ga mulimu guno. Kitegeeza nandibadde sikola ki? Sina ngeri kijenyiza bikwasaganya. Abaana abasoma era muki okulya byonna bwe kwesanyusaamu era kiki era ngutwalanga ensonga enkulu kubanga ufunamu. Gubinkolera go ge mazima, gubinkolera ddala bulungi. Mukadde tajjula maama gwe nninawo yekka oba oli awo akasimu ate kino bakiri mugira nga n'oteekayo n'omusindika ate kino egamba tosobola kulwamu ki ssente.
Ebyenfuna byange byali bibi ddala, naye mu bbanga ery'emyezi 9 wenfunidde piki aye obulamu bwakyukira ddala kubanga siganye na kati nkyapangisa naye luli eri nga landirodyako netutandika nga odduka nosanga nga basiirinze nawo naye kati nsobola omusasula nina omukyala n'abaana bendabirira nsobola okubaliisa bulungi nnyo nga embeera etambula era njagala okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga otujjukira nga ffe abavubuka n'atuleetera pulojekiti eno ey'emyoga kuba ne mami wange saazina neenyumirizaamu kuba akubira akasimu n'omuweerezaayo omutwalo oba ebiri kuba oba ozirina. Njagala otwala omukisa guno okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'okutulowoozaako nga ffe abavubuka n'atuleetera pulojekiti y'emyoga ne tutandika okufuna ku mirimu ne tufuna ebyokukola. Twabeerangawo nga tulina byakukola tutambula butambuzi nakuzzabuza misango naye kati okuva pulojekiti y'emyoga yeyajja kati tukola era sente zaffe tuzirabako era olw'okuba nti nasiima nze ng'omuntu nasalawo n'ekifaananyi kya pulezidenti Museveni kitambuze mu Kampala yonna mwenkolera okubalaga nti pulezidenti Museveni yantuusizza ku kino kuba nenkolera sente zange era nzifuna era nzirabako.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for always choosing UBC TV here to inspire you. The show is Good Morning Uganda, and my name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi. Now, Uganda's statutory minimum wage has remained unchanged since the year 1984. And it was, at that time, it was set at 6,000 Uganda shillings per month. That is about $1.60 US dollars per month. But in 2019, Parliament passed a bill proposing a new minimum wage of 136,000 Uganda shillings, which is about $37, but was rejected by the President of Uganda, citing, amongst many reasons, that this would scare away investors that Uganda is trying to attract. Now, on 1st May 2025, during the Labor Day celebrations in Karamoja region, the President pledged that he would revisit this particular issue with meetings to be held in the cabinet starting this particular month of June. Now, some of the proposed areas of focus in there were sector-based wage structures, phasing out casual labor, but also regulation of exploitative employment agencies in Uganda. And to have a whole and bigger picture on this particular issue of minimum wage, in studio with me is Mr. Mauku Richard Moses, who is the General Secretary of HTS Union, but also the Treasurer General of NOTU. So join in on the conversation as we discuss this pertinent issue that actually touches every single individual for as long as you work in Uganda. Good morning, Mr. Mauku Richard Moses.
Good morning, Julie.
Thank you for coming.
You're most welcome.
You should become a presenter already because right, we are so used to always having you speak into matters of importance.
Thank you so much for that recognition. I want to take this occasion to greet Ugandans, more especially the workers.
Yes.
Who are my brothers and sisters. I salute you all and appreciate you for the work that you do to sustain this economy. On the topic before us for discussion, one is to just echo what Julie has said, that many years ago we had a minimum wage, which became stale over the times.
Right.
And as of now, Uganda does not have a minimum wage, despite the fact that most of the countries within East Africa and the world over have minimum wage with which they work. A minimum wage is that amount of money that is pronounced by law, that no person employed by another shall earn a wage less than that that has been pronounced by law of that given country. It's unfortunate that we don't have that wage, and the absence of such a wage breeds a situation where people are exploited, those that are in employment, especially the people that are unskilled. Minimum wage is a very important aspect in employment because it predetermines that amount of money that a person must earn as a minimum.
Right.
And its absence has a lot of negative consequences to those persons that are employed. It is also reality that we also have what we call a living wage. A minimum wage is different from a living wage. A living wage would be that amount of money that could be good enough or adequate for the person in employment to fend for his or her basic needs. Does this money allow me as an employee to pay for a house? It is expected that I may not necessarily have a house as an unskilled employee. So does this money that is paid to me as a salary allow me to pay rent for a house? Does it allow me to feed myself? Does it allow me to treat myself in a given month? Say I got malaria in a month. Does it allow me to buy clothing for myself? Does it allow me to take care of my small family? So that would be a living wage. If you take a consideration, in Uganda, most of the people, the biggest chunk of the people employed actually don't earn a living wage. We earn far below what is required for us to take care of our basic needs. So it is very important and necessary that government considers. We have been pushing this issue for a long time. For me, I joined the labor unions in the late 90s. And I found this discussion on table. There was a research that was done in 1996 by the bipartite partners, the employers organization, that is Federation of Uganda Employers, and NOTU. They did the research and filed those findings with the government for purposes of ensuring that Uganda establishes or pronounces a minimum wage. It is also a very good indicator for an economy that is growing. But in its absence, you cannot judge certain facts. Very many times and many years, I so happened to go to Geneva for the International Labour Conference. Actually, we came back this weekend for the conference for this year. It is one of the things that are being discussed even now, living wage. And living wage feeds into minimum wage. It just improves the status of minimum wage. Minimum wage should not be static. If government pronounced a minimum wage today, this minimum wage should be seen to grow each year because the economic trends also change over the years. The inflation grows. The standards of living keep changing. So the minimum wage equally, even when pronounced, it should never be static if it is going to be effective and to help the people that is intended to be helped by this minimum wage. So we just want to appreciate that President Museveni this time, after a very long time, is accepting that it is necessary and important that we now pronounce a minimum wage.
Right.
This discussion has been on for a long time, but fortunately on the 30th of April this year, when the President met the tripartite partners, that is Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Federation of Uganda Employers, and the Workers' Federations. Arising from the discussions that ensued during that meeting, he came to realize that it is necessary that we have this minimum wage pronounced. Arrangements have already started into how to get this minimum wage established. And these arrangements are in concurrence with what His Excellency has guided. We, as the Ministry of Labour, it's a requirement in law that the ministry should first announce or put in place a minimum wages board, advisory board, which is also not there, though it is provided for by the law. So that those processes have already started. They are seeking for nominations of the persons that are going to sit on that board, because it is through that board that a minimum wage should be established. They should guide the process of establishment of the minimum wage. We also have another council that advises the board, which is also currently not appointed by the same ministry. So we took off time while we were in Geneva at our embassy and had those discussions with the minister, Federation of Uganda Employers, and ourselves as NOTO and COFTO. So we had a separate discussion as a follow-up.
Right.
So we are certain that now we are going to have the minimum wage established in Uganda. We want to only urge those that are concerned to fast track the process, because it has been long waited.
Surely, indeed.
Sure. So we have hope for the workers of this country that we shall have a minimum wage that establishes the minimum pay below which they cannot earn.
Now, I wonder if during those discussions that are obviously now going to start to engage into the process, if the living wage should also be discussed at the same time alongside the minimum wage, because Uganda right now is out of the LDCs, low developing countries, as announced by the Honorable Minister Kasaija over the reading of the national budget. So in your opinion, do you think that we must first have the conversation of the minimum wage driven home and then have the conversation of the living wage follow, or they should walk hand in hand?
Living wage is an obligation of the trade unions, and we do it. A living wage is negotiated in most cases. When trade unions sit with employers to negotiate collective bargaining agreements, one of the things that they do negotiate is a living wage, because salaries are improved during the process of negotiation, among the other aspects of employment. Those collective bargaining agreements that we negotiate focus on three things: the aspect of how somebody gets into employment, the aspect of how somebody stays in employment, and also the aspect of how one leaves employment. The three things must happen: entry, stay, and exit. So there are parameters, there are conditions, there are terms that obtain from all the three processes. There are procedures written in the law that we try to explain further and improve. What are these requirements? The law may provide minimums. For example, we have collective bargaining agreements that reduce the probationary period from the 1 year to merely 3 months. Because different sectors have different character or characteristics.
Right.
Would you need to examine somebody working as probably a waiter for 1 year to understand whether this person will work or not? You don't need a year. That you can even do in a week to assess that this person can do my work. So the collective bargaining agreement can reduce some of the provisions in the Mother Act to make it practical to the practice, to the service, and to the industry. If you are a packer, your work is to pack biscuits. Do I need to take 1 year examining or assessing whether you can pack biscuits or not?
No.
So you will never find a CBA that says that probationary period for a person in this position is going to be 6 months and it can be extended for another month. But for public service, sometimes they want to assess people for one full year. We don't do that. So we are in one way or the other improving the terms of and the conditions of employment. When it gets to salaries, the salaries of a person who is a union member for whom negotiations are done to improve or better the terms and conditions of employment, the salary will always be increased each time these two parties meet to agree. If the company is growing, then the individual must grow with the company.
Right.
If the profitability of the company is low, then it should be understood, and the parties say, for this year, we cannot increase salary. We cannot increase this because the profitability of this company has equally either stayed stagnant or has reduced. But where the company's profitability improve, then equally the terms and conditions of employment, the benefits of the workers should also be seen to increase. And those are matters of negotiation. That is provided for by the law. So you will find that most of the people whose terms and conditions are set out in a manner of negotiation, they have their living wage improve each other time. Those that, even the issue of minimum wage does not concern workers who are union members. No, because the unions establish minimum wage for company by company each time they engage. But we represent all workers. So that is why we are craving to ensure that we have a minimum wage for all workers.
Right. And
those that qualify for it. But there are many who don't qualify for minimum wage. When you go to civil service, you may not even want, you may not have any civil servant who will be a beneficiary of the minimum wage because their salaries are set somewhere. There is a structure which sets salaries for public service. So minimum wage is basically for the wider scope of employees of this country in the private sector.
Right.
Private sector and the informal economy employs most of the Ugandans.
Now, speaking of negotiations, what are the main economic arguments, those who probably advise the president against the minimum wage, do you think they are raising, and how are you negotiating against them to show them that this is the picture you're looking at?
Well, one thing is correct. The president, in his opinion, wanted to first have more people in employment before they set minimum wage. That has been his argument.
Yes.
That he wanted to first attract more and more investors. He creates more and more employment, and then thereafter we can talk about setting a minimum wage. It is good that he has accepted that now we can have a minimum wage. We have enough investors here. And serious investors never fear minimum wage. Any serious investor cannot fear minimum wage. Because if you are not coming to exploit people, why would you fear to pay the minimum? Because minimum wage is all over the world. And there are countries that have developed better than Uganda, but they have minimum wage.
Right.
Kenya has a minimum wage. I do not think that our economy is bigger than that of Kenya because they have a minimum wage. The minimum wage of Kenya is pronounced every 1st May. It is reviewed every 1st May by the president. But it is an economy that is higher than that of Uganda. Equally, that of Tanzania, they have a minimum wage. It does not mean that they are poor or they are not doing well. So it could have been an encumbrance, probably in our own predicaments as Uganda, but now we have enough investors. We can now start to have the minimum wage so that those who are coming in will come knowing that in Uganda the minimum wage is this. The only problem is we need to set a minimum wage that is not uniform. So we convinced the president that we need a minimum wage that is sectoral. Because one which was uniform, like the one of the Obote's regime, was unrealistic. A worker, even a domestic worker, for our case here, is a worker, and the minimum wage will affect this person as well, who is living in my house, and even that person working in a factory. So the best way is to set a minimum wage that is sectoral. You focus on service. What would be the minimum wage for service industry? What would be the minimum wage for agricultural workers? What would be the minimum wage for hospitality and maybe hotel sector, tourism? What would be the minimum wage for domestic workers, those informal economy workers,
right,
who are doing employment with direct relationship between employer and employee. There are those, many of the informal sector workers who don't earn a salary, they pay themselves. But there are those in the informal economy who actually have employers. So that is the type of minimum wage that must be pronounced in Uganda. Not one figure, but different figures for different sectors. And after a clear assessment on to whether this minimum wage is going to have negative or positive effects to the development of the economy.
Right. Now that would bring me to a question and wonder, with the current state that we are, where there's no minimum wage, do you think there are sectors that are being affected more than others?
Definitely, yes.
For example, elaborate.
When you get to factories, right here, in Uganda we have a threshold for pay as you earn.
Yes.
There are people who have come here and told lies to government that we are going to create 1,000 jobs. And then Honorable Kasaija gets very happy that he's going to earn a lot of money. Out of 1,000 jobs, when you go there, you know, we have a problem that here we only focus ourselves on environmental assessment. We don't do labor assessment. When people are going to invest here,
right,
there is no employment and labor assessment. But government enters into these contracts using a lot of our money. And the person who is coming here to invest gives figures, projections that are very beautiful. 1,000 jobs. Of the 1,000 jobs, we don't know how many of these jobs are going to be permanent, how many of them are going to be contractual, how many of these jobs are going to be casual, and how much time shall these jobs exist. You get, a person comes to employ others, and then instead of directly employing, is having labor brokers on the side waiting to give him workers. And out of the 1,000, 800 are not paid by this investor. They are paid by a labor broker.
Wow.
800 workers do not even qualify to pay as you earn, because their salary, in the absence of a minimum wage, do not even qualify them to pay as you earn, because they are earning below the threshold. And all the 800 workers are not benefiting government. 100 workers of these people are from the native country. Those who earn high, all heads of departments are from the native country where this program came from. Those that could be paying some taxes. And a very few of the Ugandan workers would also be qualifying. So you have a project that is employing 1,000, that deceived the government that it will employ 1,000, but actually it is employing 200. Only 200, and out of the 200, 100 are not nationals. So in essence, the people who make economic sense are merely 100 out of 1,000. So these are some of the the problems that we are facing as a country.
Right.
The government is not benefiting adequately from these projects.
And neither
the workers are not adequately benefiting.
Yes.
They are just growing in age, but they are not earning.
Busy.
Yeah. If you cannot be paid 235, then they don't even, these casual employees are not paying to NSSF. They don't contribute. So even Social Security has locked them out because of the format, because of lack of having a minimum wage. We would have a minimum wage that allows everybody to pay to government, pay as you earn. Government would then earn a lot of money through pay as you earn. It would be a minimum wage that allows everybody to contribute to his or her Social Security. And that is also money that is being used by government. Much as the money is being kept for me to earn it after 55 years, during the time I start contributing to the time I earn that money, government is doing a lot of programs with that money.
Right.
So these are all economic and social benefits to government if you pronounce a minimum wage.
This bill is to be retabled
Yes,
very soon. What do you think is the difference between the bill that was tabled in 2013 and the bill that might be tabled in this year? Or thereafter, really?
One thing that I want to agree is much as the bill that was tabled or that was even passed had some pitfalls, it was better than having no minimum wage bill. We are only going to improve, and it will make work easier for those of us who are involved in the process, because we already have something that we are going to build on to improve.
Right.
So the process is expected to take a shorter period of time. There is a framework that we are going to look through and make those improvements and adjustments. Because even the figures that we had proposed then now don't make good economic sense as of now, because there are a number of years that have passed.
12 years.
When it was passed in 2019, it was actually started many years ago. You get? So even the figures we are talking about then were not 2019 figures.
Right.
They were figures of either 2014 or, you know. So we are going to review all these figures with evidence and using the current economic situation to determine the figures that we are going to propose to government to ensure that we get this bill
We
concluded.
are looking at the matter of the minimum wage bill in Uganda. Uganda is the only East African country that does not have a minimum wage. And at first, this bill was tabled in the year 2013, passed in 2019, rejected by the president. And on 1st May, he pledged that he would look into this matter. And it's what we're looking into, seeing as it's about to be retabled anytime soon. It's the conversation that we are delving into. And in studio with us is Mauku Richard Moses, who is the General Secretary of HTS Union, as well as Treasurer General Notu. You did mention that you would talk about HTS Union.
Well, HTS Union, many people do not understand what it is when you do the abbreviation, but it's a long name.
Which is?
Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union.
Wow.
So we organize from the biggest scope.
Right. Right. Very interesting. So let's continue this conversation and look at the strategies that the union has or has a plan to use to ensure that the bill is passed and implemented.
Well, I would say that we have not slept for a long time.
Indeed. We've been seeing the activity.
Yeah.
Yes.
One, we continue to lobby government.
Right.
But we also push internationally. These matters are found somewhere in Geneva. Even when we don't file an official complaint, we discuss them the other side.
Right.
Some of the issues that are still pending. And if nothing is done, we shall then bring an official complaint in Geneva. So we have been doing a number of things, and we are also in touch with the employers' organization. On several occasions, we have agreed with the Federation of Uganda Employers and NOTU on a joint communique, on joint position papers about minimum wage, among other things. So it finds a fertile ground. Many of the times we have discussed this matter, we are always in agreement with employers, employers' organization. And actually, most of the employers individually also believe that it is important and necessary to have a minimum wage in Uganda.
Right.
So it's not going to be a difficult task. It's only providing information that is good enough for us to make our positions before we present to the cabinet.
Right.
It's not going to be a very hard task for us.
On that note, what role do you think the public should play in enabling this bill to be passed?
I would wish to call on the public to speak to their representatives in Parliament. Because all done, ours is to feed into Parliament. It is still Parliament to discuss the final draft.
Right.
It is Parliament to pass the law. So I want to urge the public or encourage the public to speak to their members of Parliament to pick interest in this minimum wages bill. Because it affects every person. Even when you are earning whatever you earn as a member of Parliament, at least you have a relative who is affected by this, the absence of a minimum wage. It might be your daughter, it might be your auntie, it might be, but you have somebody who, and even the people that elect you are victims of this situation. So it is important for us all to understand and appreciate that we need this bill passed into law and convince the president, all of us, to ensure that we have this minimum wage bill. Because it adds on the economic...
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Because one thing that the president has been telling Ugandans is that he wants more Ugandans to join the money economy, the cash economy. Ugandans are not going to join the cash economy when you don't even have a minimum wage. When people are paying what the employer thinks like. So it is important that it is going to help the president achieve his goal of catching many people into the cash economy.
How will it be monitored?
The Ministry of Labor is there, and that is its responsibility. The trade unions are on the other side to monitor. The employers' organizations are also the other side. So monitoring, there is a mechanism already set out in the legal framework and by the existence of the tripartite partners, government, employers, and the workers' organizations. So monitoring is going to be easier. And there is enforcement that is done. We also have police. People will be told what to do and how to do it, where to report cases of non-compliance.
Right.
Yes, please.
Very interesting. With what Mr. Mauku has said, it looks like if this bill is actually put into action and accepted by the president, it will eventually do what Honorable Kasaija usually does for the economy. But thank you so much, Mr. Mauku Richard Moses, for coming through for this conversation. What would be your parting shot as we close this conversation?
My parting shot is people to, those that are in employment, I want to advise them that look out for unions that shall represent your interests. Because it is both God-given, but it's also provided for by the laws, that those people that are in employment reserve the liberty to be represented by others. That is joining trade unions of their choice, so that you can be represented at all levels.
Right.
And for those of our brothers and sisters that are in the informal economy, we want to pray for you to talk to your members of parliament everywhere so that we ensure that we have the minimum wage bill passed in law, into law by parliament, and that should be the duty of everybody. So I want to urge everybody to be vigilant on ensuring that we have this bill, and also ask people to, we are getting into the time of voting for our leaders. Elect the right persons. Do not elect people who have money, but elect people who shall represent you. When you continue asking for money from these people that we're electing, actually they tend to only go and pay back themselves and not do the duty that they are supposed to do for us. So it is important that we focus on people who are actually having the sense of representation, not necessarily those that have more money to give us.
Right.
Because we instead sell our rights because we are demanding for monies and not service. So it is important for the Ugandans to take it that what is most important is for you to focus on leaders and inform them at the time you are electing them, to encourage them to go and provide service, but not to go and look for money. There is no one single person that is going to develop this country. That is the duty of the whole government. But the person you are electing as an LOC, as a councillor, as an MP, as a president, is that person who is meant to represent your interests in totality, not paying your salary. If you want money, look for a job. If you want representation, elect the right leader. That is my...
Very profound parting shot there. I cannot even say another word or add to that. It's straight, clear, and rightfully driven home by Mr. Mauku Richard Moses, who is the General Secretary of HTS Union as well as Treasurer General of NATO. He's been with us in studio today talking about workers' welfare, a bill that is the minimum wage bill is going to be retabled, and he was giving us an insight into this particular conversation. That's it for Good Morning Uganda today. Thank you so much for being on UBC TV. GMU Extra will be coming your way with Robert Travel Nyonyintono. Let's do this same time tomorrow on a Wednesday. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondolo. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.